Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Ali Aruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick-and-mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I'm passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love, because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you are meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inspire and Move podcast, and welcome to our 2026 podcast studio. For any of you watching this episode, we are filming in our brand new home. And by we, I mean Matt and Ali, we.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Say hello. It's been like months since you've been on the podcast.
Well, to be fair, I threw it down with a solo podcast.
This is true.
Just 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I actually would be curious. And there's no comments really in podcasts, but send us a DM. I would be so curious. Do we need more solo Matt Aruda podcast episodes?
I got nothing else. I shot my shot. That's it. No,
are we the next Lauren and Michael Bostic? And you have solo episodes like Michael does?
That sounds like a good time.
We'll see if the people speak on that one.
Deal.
So since we have not recorded in a while and we are recording in our cozy new home, today's topic is all about transitions and who you become, or in this case, who we become when life changes. And we wanted to share a little bit and kind of pull back the curtain about this recent transition and these recent changes that we've gone through and talk about it on the pod.
Yeah, and I think, life changes regardless of what we do and regardless of what big events may be happening per se. And it's always an opportunity for you to evolve, right? It's always an opportunity for you to kind of drop what's not serving you, what's not working for you, and find a more efficient way for you to impact other people and then by extension your own life too. But this one was a relatively big shift for us.
Yes, and do we want to give a little bit of insight into the why?
Go for it.
Well, I wanted to talk more about the grief between leaving our last house and this house.
See, I got nothing to give on that. I would first have to be grieving for that to be the case.
Well, this was a big change for Matt and I, and for any of you that follow us on Instagram, you know that months ago, or in the summer, we had shared this, our biggest announcement yet, and everybody thought that we were moving to California was first place, followed by Arizona, followed by Toronto, followed by Burlington. No one thought we were staying in Burlington, but we are still in Burlington, Ontario. We have not yet moved out of country. But we wanted to create some space and flexibility for things that we do want to call in. And effectively, it sounds woo, but telling the universe that, hey, we're preparing ourselves and we are welcome and open to receiving big change.
Yeah, and I think, everything has a price, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know we've talked about this at length, and I've heard this from people who are much smarter than I am, where you might not like the price of what it is that you are trying to attract, but that doesn't change the price. The price still is the same whether you like it or not. So sometimes you've got to find what it is you can sacrifice in order to find the piece in the bigger picture, in the long game that is meant to serve you for a lot longer and for a bigger reason. And that's what this move effectively did for us, right?
Mm-hmm. And we had been in our house for, was it 10 years?
Just after. Yeah, or just beyond, exactly.
So that's a full decade. And what's really amazing is the people that we were when we came in, the people that we became during our decade there, and the people that we were closing that chapter, which is really wild. If you are someone that does really love personal development, I think you can really hone in on how you change in those 10 years. And it's intriguing to me of, who we were when we moved in there. We were really successful individuals that were paving our way in corporate.
I don't think there was one part of me that thought by the time we left this place that we would be in a completely different, actually, personally, 3 different jobs between then, and with an outlook on life that would be so much more expansive while also having all kinds of trials and tribulations. And that might not necessarily be fair because you give anybody a 10-year span and everyone goes through something, if they're lucky, just once.
Mm-hmm.
But there are multiple people that go through it multiple different times, right? In different ways. And I think us leaving 10 plus years after we first got there, we are not the same people. And that's across almost every conceivable platform, that we are not the same people. And that's okay. I mean, I would actually almost feel worse or guilty if I sat here thinking that a quarter of my life has passed, which is what it has been in that home, that a quarter of my life has passed and I haven't changed, I haven't evolved, I haven't been better, I haven't been more expansive, I haven't been able to be more impactful or create something that is going to last as long as it possibly can. I mean, if it was everything that I was doing at 30 as I was at 40, that's kind of sad,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, I think there's such a big conversation right now. We're fresh into 2026. It's January, and there's a lot of conversations around shedding with this whole year of the snake coming to an end mid-February with the Lunar New Year, and then you start Year of the Horse. But with the shedding, it's, whether it's relationships, it's jobs, habits, people in your life. But we think that we also would have gone through a shedding cycle many times of versions that we were of ourselves in our previous home.
Sure.
And I think celebrating, we were great people when we moved in there. And I think we are even better people when we've closed that chapter, because we've been on this expansive growth journey. And that's also why we chose to leave our beautiful home. There was literally no reason. It was spacious. We had a beautiful backyard, a swimming pool. We learned to do events there, create content in there,
Mm-hmm.
and have built a really beautiful life in there. And this kind of goes into the grief that I feel like I really experienced one day significantly. Matt went out grocery shopping and came home, and I was on the kitchen floor organizing cupboards and crying, that it finally hit me. And I remember talking to a lot of my energy healers in my life about this, and they had asked, have you gone through some emotional moments? And I was like, no, like I'm feeling this. But this one day it just hit me, this big emotional overwhelm, where I felt this grief attached to the sale of the house and the new owners moving into what was ours, that I felt like I was leaving a part of me behind, because while we were in our previous home, we lost Hudson, my first golden retriever with you that you had when we started dating. We lost my dad, and we lost Molly.
Mm-hmm.
And Molly actually passed away at home, which is even, one layer deeper. And I carried this grief that I was going to be leaving these people and pets that I love behind, and that they will never get to see the rest of the chapters that we create for ourselves in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And for any of you listening or watching, I don't know if this resonates at all, but I've never experienced this before. When I moved out of my childhood home, it was because I moved to Toronto to go to university. And then in Toronto, I lived in condos. And so it was always exciting all right, this one was great, but now I'm going to move here. And now I'm going to move here. But this was the first significant move of the first home that I have purchased. Obviously, we purchased together, and closing a chapter that was full of so many memories and so many highs, but also a lot of big challenges that we navigated through our life. And in saying that, people that we became.
Yeah, it's not to take anything away from those feelings. They're very real, and probably healthy that you even recognize them being exactly what they are. I think one level deeper is recognizing that kind of grief or feeling of potential loss, it could still coexist at the same time as being excited for what you are moving into, for not just the physical home that one is moving into. Sure, it's a beautiful home and it's a beautiful part of the city that we live in, and walkability, although it was really great at the other home, is even better now. And all the things that are important to us, there's a lot of boxes that are checked in this property. But outside of the physical space being great, I think the excitement comes with more so of what it will allow us to now become again. Right? Like the next evolution of us, whatever that looks like. And I think we'd be ignorant to know exactly what that looks like now, the same way that when we moved into our previous home, there's no telling that what it is that we were about to be walking into and evolving into within that next decade. Who knows what this decade looks like in this new home, but we do sure as hell know that regardless of it, it will be different for us 10 years from now. I mean, hell, it'll be different 1 year from now than what it is right now on week 4 of living in this home, essentially. And that part is exciting because we have great intentions and we have incredible contacts and great ideas and all of these things that require mostly us to do it. And if that's the majority of the recipe, we're not going to lose. You might have to adjust the recipe a little bit, but we're not going to lose ultimately. It's just a matter of finding and settling into what becomes the most impactful part of what this next part of the evolution is, what the next part of the story is. But make no mistake, it's also just as exciting to move forward into that as it potentially was in the feeling of grief or loss or no longer having, if that makes sense, in the previous home.
Well, I think being open and prepared for writing those next chapters of what they look like and what fills those metaphorical pages. And I think there can be a lot of resistance that us humans, and maybe especially us high achieving humans, feel when it comes to change. But looking at something like in this conversation, it's specific to our home and where we reside. But it could also be if you are transitioning into a new career path or a new romantic relationship, that don't resist the change. You want to welcome it and try to be on balance too, but also celebrate the version of you that was before. So for us, being able to celebrate those 10 plus years of what happened in our life, the massive milestones. And I remember putting together some of the milestones for us in our life spent at that home. And they were big. And sending it to someone on our creative team to put the carousel together, I was like, wow, that is an amazing lineup of experiences. And then outside of those big experiences, you have those magical little moments of those moments of joy where, we would sit by the pool with a glass of wine at golden hour, either reading our books or having conversations. We love spending time at home with our dogs and being able to really feel gratitude for that's the life that you created. And so if this is something that relates to you in your home that you're in, the transition, or if it is leaving relationships, starting new jobs, and being able to feel that joy and that gratitude for what was and what is,
Yeah.
what's coming next.
Simultaneously almost, right? It also allows you to, this fresh start, and it doesn't necessarily have to come with a physical move per se, but a fresh start, however you decide that to be. I mean, it could be as much as just it being the beginning of a new year, regardless of where you physically are. But what this transitionary period allows you to also do is also release or let go of roles that no longer serve you, identities that are no longer you, that you might be carrying for reasons that are more important to other people than they are to you. So, for us, the idea of letting go of a home that was twice the size of what we have now, and with a property that is twice the size, and having an immense amount of dollars invested into the exterior of the place that we loved so much. Look, we're going to do a part of that here too. So it's not like, that part isn't important to us anymore. Part of that still is, and we'll recreate the parts that are. But more importantly, we don't need to feel like we have to do it for the sake of showing that we can. I think now it's more of, we will do it if only it serves us to do so. And then from that, having a home like this, having the space like this, and making the move like this allows us to go do things that serve us on a larger scale, on a bigger scale, that are much more impactful than having the bigger X or the shinier Y. I think this becomes a bigger reason to propel us forward into the bigger picture things that are going to really move our needle for the next step of our lives, and hopefully for the rest of our lives, quite frankly.
Well, I remember when we started talking about potentially putting our house up for sale last year. And the crazy part of this story, you guys, is that the house that we are sitting in, that we have purchased, Matt and I came to look at over a year ago with our friend and realtor, Sarah. And we were intrigued about this house. We loved it. it actually
We've known it
looks.
for years,
Yes,
right?
we
Like we've
have
known it
loved
for
it for
literally
years.
years. It's a brand new build as of eight years ago. And I remember when it was going up, it was on our dog walking path. And so I remember as it was going up, thinking to myself, what a pretty home. And then we actually knew who the owners were. Ultimately, they were members at our gym space. And there's a story therein. But all that to be said, you're right. It's something that didn't just all of a sudden show up. This was kind of in our periphery for a while now.
And we came to see it. The house was on the market. We came to see it. At the time, we left, and I was like, "Okay, Matt, I love the idea of this here, but I am completely overwhelmed about the idea of moving, like going home to our then house and looking at all of this stuff." And I don't know about any of you that if you live in a space for multiple years, you accumulate so many things. And going back to the topic of shedding, wow, does moving out of a home that you lived in for 10 years into a home that's half the size, and you're also in a completely different phase of your life. I'm looking at things as like, we have so much stuff. Like, we do not need this. And I think just the world of consumerism and everything can be so easy to just attract things and things and things. And, God bless Amazon for the speed in which something arrives at your house, but it's so easy to buy something and then just add it to your house and add it to your house. You've done what, like 6 runs to donations, to the animal
Minimum.
shelter with towels and sheets,
Yeah, I've been to the garbage
dump.
disposal dump for things that we wouldn't dare give to anybody at all, period. That just need to be tossed. Things that we forgot we had for damn near the past decade, for goodness sake. And yes, and that's part of what I was talking about or thinking of when I was talking about the whole idea of what roles do you want to release? And we don't need to be the collectors of things anymore, right? If they don't serve us for a bigger reason why, then they don't have a reason to be in my life right now. So, for things like clothing and things like furniture and so on, if it can go to a great place, absolutely. It's not the worst thing in the world. It served a purpose for the years we've had it, and now it'll go to somebody else's home and off they go. But to accumulate for accumulation's sake, that no longer serves, right? That for us, it's no longer what checks our box. I think we look at things now and realize, how can we get to where we want to go to next with the least amount of friction? And I think that's what we've created here.
And I think the idea of collecting moments and memories and experiences and dreams. Like, we have really big dreams, and we've just created more space to get there sooner.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very powerful reminder, especially at the beginning of the year. If you haven't already, mapped out what you want your year to look like, what are those goals and intentions that you are working towards? I mean, certainly do not stress if you've not done them, because, planning for 12 months sounds amazing, but so much can happen where you're going to be shot off course.
Yeah.
So maybe you look at it from a quarterly standpoint, but also thinking about what is it that you want to create more space for.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. And there's no right or wrong, right? There might be plenty of people that are absolutely still in the part of life where we were, where, the idea of needing to accumulate more because you have a family that's growing or whatever that story might need to look like. That works for them in that part of their life. For us, I think this feels really good. 4 weeks into living here, we're feeling more settled every day. We have some of our own things that are coming together. We purchased some other new things that make it feel like home. We've done some minor renovations that make it feel like home more so for us now. And all that is to say, it's what allows us to feel like we can be the best, most impactful versions of ourselves, the evolution of the next step of ourselves, to get there sooner than later. Because the idea of making any big move, whether it be a home, a job, a relationship, doesn't matter. Any big move is hard. The easy thing to do is to do nothing. We could have sat where we were always sitting and continued to live that really great life in its own right too. Make no mistake. A life that most people would absolutely jump backwards through hoops to get, that we created there. But if the goal is to do great things instead of good things, then I think we both know that we would have regretted not taking the opportunity that was in front of us here and now to escalate what the next version of our beautiful life could be.
No, so well said. And just that reminder, you guys, to think about what is it that you want to create more space for this year.
Mhm.
We could go down the path of what's your word, and those are different topics for different times. But in the nature of this conversation surrounding transition and change and growth, of just turning inward and thinking about what is it that you want to create space for.
Wrap it up, girl.
Oh, it's so nice to be podcasting together again.
In our house.
In our house.
That's fun.
I think this is a nice little studio, so.
This is fun. Yeah, I mean, I can, this is easier than driving to a studio for us. That's for sure.
And there's dogs at our feet.
Exactly. As long as they stay well behaved.
Stay peaceful. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching, for being here, for being a part of the Inspire and Move community. If you loved this episode, share it with a friend. Maybe leave a little 5-star review. It is a wonderful way to start off 2026. And until next time, we will see you again soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean so much to me if you took a few seconds and shared this on social media, sent it to a friend, or left a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I'm so grateful to have you part of mine.